I want to reveal to you why these words hold such tremendous power and how you can use them to manifest everything you have ever desired. You see, most people spend their entire life searching outside themselves for power, for permission, for validation. They believe their desires must be achieved through hard work, struggle, and external forces. But I tell you this, all power resides within your own consciousness. When you declare, I am the power, you are acknowledging the fundamental truth of existence. You are recognizing that the force that moves the stars and grows the flowers is the same force that flows through your consciousness. Let me tell you something profound about these 4 words. When you speak them, you're not making a mere affirmation. You're declaring your true nature, your essential being. You're acknowledging the creative force within you. Consider this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone recognizing their inner power. They didn't wait for external permission. They didn't seek validation from others. They understood that all power flows from within. You see, most people have it backwards. They say, when I have this, then I will be powerful. But I tell you this, you must first assume your power, and then all things become possible. These 4 words, I am the power, are not just words to be spoken. They must be felt. They must be lived. They must become your dominant state of consciousness. Let me share with you what happens when you truly embody these words. The entire universe must reorganize itself to reflect your new self-concept. This is not metaphysics. This is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you want to manifest. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about getting something you don't have. It's about revealing what already exists within your consciousness. When you declare, I am the power, you're not creating power. You're acknowledging what has always been true. This recognition changes everything. Your entire world must shift to align with this declaration. You see, most people approach manifestation like beggars, hoping and wishing for their desires to be granted. But when you know, I am the power, you approach life as a creator, knowing that what you decree must manifest. Let me share something profound about consciousness. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in your world is simply consciousness made visible. Therefore, when you declare, I am the power, you're literally reshaping your entire universe. Think about this. Every morning when you wake up, you're either reinforcing your powerlessness or claiming your power. There is no neutral position. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is either aligning with I am the power or denying it. You see, these 4 words are not just a positive affirmation. They are a recognition of the fundamental truth of your being. When you truly grasp this manifestation, it becomes as natural as breathing. Most of you have been taught to look for power in external circumstances, in money, in relationships, in social status. But I tell you this, all these things are merely effects. The cause lies in your consciousness. Consider what happens when you truly know, I am the power. You no longer beg, you no longer plead, you no longer hope. You simply decree, and by law your decree must manifest. Let me share with you why these words are so transformative. When you declare, I am the power, you're shifting your entire self-concept. You're no longer seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of circumstances. You see, most people spend their lives reacting to what they see, but when you know, I am the power, you understand that what you see is simply your consciousness pushed out. Therefore, to change what you see, you must change your consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement began with someone knowing they were the power. They didn't wait for conditions to change. They changed conditions by changing their consciousness. Let me share with you what happens in the depths of consciousness. When you truly embody these 4 words, your entire world begins to reorganize itself to match your new self-concept. You see, most people believe their circumstances dictate their state of being. But when you declare, I am the power, you reverse this process. Your state of being now dictates your circumstances. Consider this. Every moment of your life, You're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to external conditions. Let me tell you something profound about manifestation. When you know I am the power, you stop asking how things will manifest. You understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your problems, your limitations, your obstacles. But I tell you this, these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. You see, when you truly embody these 4 words, you enter a new dimension of being. In this dimension, problems don't need to be solved. They simply dissolve in the light of your consciousness. Think about this. Everything you see in your world right now is the result of your previous concepts about yourself. Change the concept by knowing I am the power and your world must change. Let me share with you the true meaning of these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a positive statement. You're acknowledging your true identity. Most of you have been taught to look for causes outside yourself. But when you know I am the power, you understand that you are the only cause in your world. Consider this carefully. Every condition in your life right now is simply a shadow of your consciousness. When you truly know I am the power, you cease fighting shadows and start changing consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformative nature of these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you're not just changing your thoughts. You're changing the very foundation of your reality. You see, most people live their entire lives believing they're victims of circumstances. But when you truly embody I am the power, you understand that circumstances are merely reflections of consciousness. Consider what happens when you wake up each morning knowing I'm the power. Suddenly, obstacles become opportunities. Problems become possibilities. Every challenge becomes a chance to demonstrate your creative power. Let me share something profound about these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a future promise. You're claiming a present reality. This distinction changes everything. Most of you sit here thinking about what you want to create in your future. But I tell you this, there is no future creation. There is only present assumption. When you know I am the power, you understand that what you assume now must manifest. You see, these 4 words are not just a statement. They are complete shift in consciousness. When you truly embody them, you cease looking outside yourself for anything. Think about this. Every time you say I can't or it's too difficult, you're denying these 4 words. You're giving your power away to external conditions. Let me tell you what happens when you consistently maintain this consciousness. Your entire world must reshape itself to reflect your new self-concept. Most of you have spent years accumulating evidence of your limitations. But when you know I am the power, you understand that all past evidence is irrelevant. Only your present assumption matters. Consider this. Every great achievement in your life began with a shift in consciousness. When you knew you could, you did. These 4 words simply make this knowing permanent. Let me share with you something profound about these 4 words that most will never understand. When you declare I am the power, you're not just making a statement. You're activating the very force that created the universe. You see, most people spend their lives waiting for permission to be powerful. They wait for the right circumstances, the right credentials, the right moment. But I tell you this, the only permission you need is your own recognition that I am the power. Consider what happens in your world when you truly embody these words. Your relationships change because you no longer seek power from others. Your work transforms because you no longer depend on external validation. Your entire life shifts because you're operating from a new dimension of consciousness. Let me tell you about the subtle shift that occurs when you consistently maintain this state. You stop asking, when will my desire manifest? Because you understand that manifestation is not a future event. It's a present moment recognition. Most of you have been taught that power is something to be acquired. But when you declare I'm the power, you understand that power is your natural state. Everything else is learned powerlessness. You see, these four words challenge everything you've been taught about, cause and effect. When you know I am the power, you understand that consciousness is the only cause, and everything else is effect. Think about this. Every time you say I hope or I wish, you're denying these four words. You're placing power outside yourself in some future event or external circumstance. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this consciousness consistently. Your entire world must rearrange itself to match your new self-concept. This is not theory, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your current limitations, your future obstacles. But I tell you this, all of these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no neutral ground. When you truly grasp these four words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me reveal to you the deeper meaning behind these four words. When you declare, I am the power, you're not making a casual statement. You're aligning yourself with the fundamental creative force of the universe. You see, most people live their entire lives believing that power lies in their actions, their resources, their connections. But I tell you this, all these are merely expressions of consciousness. When you know I am the power, your actions flow from this knowing. Consider what happens when you approach each day from this consciousness. You no longer wake up wondering what the day will bring. You wake up knowing that you bring to the day whatever you decree in consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs when you live from these four words. You stop seeking validation from others because you understand that all validation comes from within. You stop fighting circumstances because you know that circumstances are merely shadows. Most of you have spent years trying to change effects while leaving the cause untouched. But when you declare I am the power, you go straight to the cause, your own consciousness. You see, these four words contain within them the secret of all creation. When you truly embody them, you understand that everything in your world is simply your consciousness pushed out. Think about this. Every time you blame external conditions for your state, you're denying these four words. You're giving away your creative power to shadows. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes natural to you. You stop asking, how will this happen? Because you understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here thinking about what's possible and what's impossible. But I tell you this, possibility and impossibility exist only in consciousness. When you know I am the power, all things become possible. Consider this. Every limitation in your life right now exists only because you've accepted it in consciousness. When you truly embody these four words, all limitations dissolve. Let me share with you something profound about these four words that will forever change how you view manifestation. When you declare, I am the power, you're not just speaking words, you're awaking to your true identity. You see, most people spend their lives seeking power through achievement, through accumulation, through recognition. But I tell you this, all seeking ends when you realize that you are what you've been seeking. Consider what happens when you truly grasp these words. You stop looking for signs, you stop waiting for permission, you stop seeking approval. Because when you know I am the power, what else could you possibly need? Let me tell you about the shift that occurs in your relationships when you embody these words. You no longer need others to complete you, to validate you, to empower you. You become complete within yourself. And paradoxically, this completeness attracts more fulfilling relationships. Most of you have been taught that power comes from doing. But when you declare, I am the power, you understand that power comes from being. Your doing then flows naturally from your being. You see, these four words revolutionize your entire approach to manifestation. You stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to unfold from your consciousness. Think about this. Every time you say, I'll try or I hope, you're actually denying your power. You're placing the fulfillment of your desires in some uncertain future. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this consciousness consistently. Your entire world must reshape itself to reflect this new self-concept. This is not magic, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you need to do to manifest your desires. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about doing, it's about being. When you know I am the power, the doing takes care of itself. Consider this. Every great achievement in history began with someone knowing their power. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They understood that conditions respond to consciousness. You see, most people spend their lives in reaction mode, responding to circumstances, adapting to conditions. But I tell you this, when you know I am the power, you create circumstances, you determine conditions. Consider what happens when you approach each moment from this consciousness. You no longer see problems as obstacles. You see them as opportunities to demonstrate your creative power. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your financial world when you embody these words. Money ceases to be something you chase and becomes something you attract through your consciousness of abundance. Most of you have been programmed to believe that success requires struggle. But when you declare I am the power, you understand that success is simply the natural expression of your consciousness. You see, these 4 words completely transform your relationship with time. When you truly know I am the power, you cease postponing your good to some future date. Think about this. Every time you say, when I have this, then I'll be powerful, you're denying your present power. You're placing your power in external conditions. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes your natural state. The entire experience of reality shifts. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your present limitations, your future uncertainties. But I tell you this, all these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten its power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There's no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me share with you the final and most crucial understanding about these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you are making the ultimate declaration of independence from all external influences. You see, tonight marks a turning point in your life. From this moment forward, you will never again see yourself as powerless. You will never again give your power away to circumstances, to other people, or to past experiences. Consider this moment right now. As you sit here absorbing these words, you have a choice. You can continue living as you have been, seeing power as something outside yourself, or you can claim your true identity by knowing I am the power. Let me tell you what your world will look like when you fully embody these words. Everything that once seemed like an obstacle will become a stepping stone. Every challenge will become an opportunity to demonstrate your creative power. Most of you came here tonight seeking answers, but I tell you this, the only answer you need is already within you. It is the knowing, the absolute conviction that I am the power. You see, these 4 words are not just a technique or a method. They are a complete revolution in consciousness. When you truly embody them, your entire world must transform. Think about tomorrow morning when you wake up. Will you rise as the same person who came here tonight? Or will you rise knowing I am the power, ready to create your day consciously? Let me share with you this final truth. There's no power outside of you. There never was and there never will be. All power resides in consciousness, and you are that consciousness. From this moment forward, let every breath you take be a reminder that I am the power. Let every heartbeat affirm this truth. Let every step you take be from this consciousness. Remember, you are not becoming powerful. You are simply recognizing what has always been true. You are the power that creates worlds. You are the power that moves mountains. You are the power that transforms lives. Tonight, make this sacred commitment to yourself. Promise that you will never again deny your power. Promise that you will never again give your power away. Promise that you will live every moment from the consciousness that I am the power. For this promise lies your freedom. In this recognition lies your transformation. In this knowing lies everything you have ever desired. Go forth now, not as seekers, but as knowers. Not as hopeful dreamers, but as conscious creators. Not as victims of circumstances, but as martyrs. For when you know, truly know, I am the power. Nothing in this world can stand against you. Nothing can deny you. Nothing can limit you. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your power. Now, rise up and claim it. Rise up and live it. Rise up and be it. For you are the power. You have always been the power, and you will always be the power. Let this be your final understanding, your ultimate truth, your eternal knowing. I am the power, and so it is. Relax for a moment, not as an instruction from the outside, but as a remembering that rises from within you. Because relaxation is not something you do, it is something you allow when you stop arguing with life. Just pause right here, wherever you are, and notice that your breath is already happening without your permission, your heart is already beating without your effort, and the universe itself has not been waiting for you to figure everything out before continuing its magnificent unfolding. This alone is a clue, a quiet whisper reminding you that life has always been supporting you far more than you realize. There is a deep exhaustion that comes from trying to manage everything, from believing that you must push, strive, control, prove, and hustle your way into worthiness. Many people call this ambition, but underneath it is fear. The fear that if you stop, you will fall behind. That if you relax, nothing will happen. That if you let go, you will lose what little you think you have. Yet the truth is the opposite. The most powerful moments of creation have never come from tension. They have always emerged from alignment, from harmony, from a mind that has remembered its connection to the source of all things. You see, the universe does not respond to your anxiety. It responds to your consciousness. It does not listen to the frantic voice of lack. It answers the quiet certainty of alignment. When you are tense, worried, grasping, you are broadcasting a message that says, I don't trust life. And life, in its infinite intelligence, simply mirrors that back to you. But when you relax, when you soften your grip, when you allow yourself to breathe into the present moment, you are saying something entirely different. You are saying, I trust the process. I trust the timing. I trust myself as an expression of something far greater than my fears. Relaxation is not laziness. It is not giving up. It is the highest form of confidence. It is the state of being that says, I know who I am, and I know that what belongs to me cannot miss me. The river does not strain to reach the ocean. It flows, and in its flowing, it arrives. The sun does not rush to shine, it simply is. And in its being, everything grows. When you relax, you align with this same intelligence. You stop forcing and start attracting. You stop chasing and start allowing. There is a profound misunderstanding about how life works that has been passed down for generations. The belief that you must earn love, earn peace,